Your friends aren't meant to be in your lives forever. We get older, burdened with more responsibilities, and just become different people. But if you were lucky enough to go through miserable times with the company of loving and generous people, then at the end of it all, it'll be okay to say goodbye. This is Lord of the Rings Return of the King.
I don't know if you saw my little pantomimes, but I think you'll enjoy them when in the edit.
I saw it and I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Because I didn't see it clearly. I saw it from my peripheral. I'm like, what is he on?
You just saw the idea of movement happening from Zoom.
Yeah. And I was like, I wrote this heartfelt thing and you're just like,
No, trust me, it'll go really well with this once the edit happens. You know what I mean? They'll look really good together.
No. I'm sure. How you doing, man?
I'm doing swell. How are you?
I'm doing okay, you know.
Just okay?
I'm doing pretty all right. It's been a while, funny enough, since we've shot, you know. So I'm kind of rusty.
It's been like a week and a half.
I forgot how to podcast, you know.
We had to delay the shoot for like 3 days.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm sorry, is this on?
Who am I? My identity is just on another wavelength right now.
Yeah, I'm just like, sorry, is the camera here? Is that where I talk?
Oh, we're like those guys in the beginning of those Netflix documentaries where you see us getting mic'd up.
Oh, wait, can I do it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure. All right, 1 second.
If you're not on the YouTube version of this podcast, I highly encourage you check this out because this is a visual medium.
Right here? All right. You want to hear about the shit show?
Then some classic rock Les Paul playing song starts, you know.
Okay. Can I say something? I saw a trailer to a documentary coming out on Netflix about Charlie Sheen called AKA Charlie Sheen. And it's starring him. But then it also has like, it showed in the trailer, it's going to have, what's his name? The actor. I was going to say Sean Paul, but I think that's not the actor's name.
I don't know why that got me so good. Just...
I didn't want to say it either because I knew that would derail you, but like, I was like, oh man. No, it has like Sean Penn, John Cryer. Like John Cryer is in it, which is really... But, so like, when the trailer started, I'm like, okay, Charlie Sheen's trying to make a comeback. We'll see how this is. But I'm like... You know what's so funny? Maybe marketing just worked on me, but I'm like, oh, Charlie Sheen's kind of a charming guy. Like, I was kind of like...
Yeah. Don't forget, he's also kind of a raging piece of shit.
But it seems from the trailer that he's going to be super honest about everything. Like, he says it straight up. He's like...
tell-all.
Yeah. And I know it's all marketing, and I know it's just him trying to build up his image again, but it's funny.
What else is left to tell? What other honesty does he need that we don't know yet?
No, I get it.
What's left?
The joke I'm making is that, like, I was just mocking the thing that I actually now am looking forward to.
Yeah, of course. That's how they get you.
And, you know, his interview is, like, in a diner. Like, so you can see it's like he's, like, sitting in a diner while...
Yeah, having coffee and cigarettes while he talks.
Okay, welcome to Movies That Changed Us. I'm Altaf.
And I'm Chris.
And today... You might have not known from what we just talked about, but today we're going to be talking about how Return of the King changed us.
And we do have a Patreon, guys. If any of you like the show and want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/moviesthatchangedus, where you can get early access to episodes, ad-free episodes, along with our bonus show called Movies That Played Us, where Altaf and I make custom-made kind of movie-based quizzes for each other. We've done, you know, guess the movie beard, guess the movie hat, and just sorts of little fun games for each other. This time, Altaf, I made you a game, and you requested this one ahead of time. We're doing Guess the Movie by the Letterboxd review, and we're doing a part 2 on it because not only did you request it, but also a lot of our listeners enjoyed it too, at least from what it seems like, and we thought it'd be fun to do another one. A totally anti-systematic film. Sort of incredible that something this surreal gained such acceptance in the cultural mainstream, at least now, if not back then.
I mean, that's a great review. I don't know what it is, but
there's no stars or anything either.
So, Chris, what art moved you this week?
So, to be clear for listeners, we had to push this shoot back because I had some sort of stomach ailment. I puked the night before we were supposed to shoot, and I was up until like 3, or I woke up at 3 in the morning and was up until like 5:30 a.m. So, so all the art I was consuming during that time when I took a couple days off.
And since Naked Gun as well. It wasn't just those 3 days. It's been
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just contextualizing why it's been so long,
Mm-hmm.
No, I think like this one's a little more unique, Altaf. You may or may not like this one, but I went to a local music festival over the weekend, which is really fun.
Why wouldn't I like that? Why is it now just like, I don't know if Altaf's going to like this. Like, what do you mean?
Okay, I don't know. I can't tell,
God, you're never going to let that go, man. Okay, sorry. Talk about the music festival.
No, but yeah, my dad was playing in a little band playing at a music festival, and they played like
instrument does your dad play?
Guitar.
Nice.
I talk a little more in depth about that in the School of Rock podcast. If anyone's more curious about my relationship with rock music and that sort of thing, but it was really cool though, because it was like a lot of bands playing. It was probably like 4 different stages playing at once, like a festival. But again, it was just kind of scaled down to a local festival at a park. And there was one stage I was like particularly metal. I could hear them playing Deftones from far away, but my family wasn't playing at that stage, so I can only hear them from far away. Didn't get to fully watch them. But there were like little food tents, that sold lemonade that was like hand shaken, that had like little flavors you can order with it. It was just a really cool atmosphere and a really cool energy. And there were a lot of people like, that would point out to me like, oh yeah, no, so-and-so comes to every local show. Like there are a lot of regulars at the event. And it made me want to start playing music again, because I haven't played music in a little while.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So,
do you want to find people to jam with?
Yeah. I don't have a lot of jamming friends, so if any listeners want to, fly out to me and just play some music, you're invited.
Chris plays drums, for those of you guys who don't know. Again, like he said, listen to our School of Rock episode if you want to know more about that.
I play drums, a little, like really bare minimum ukulele, and I'm an okay singer. That's kind of how I market myself. That's my branding.
Yeah, Chris loves to talk about his branding, everyone. That's
my musical branding.
Okay, so art that moved me. I've been watching a lot of stuff. I mean, again, I've had so much time since, it's been so long since we last recorded.
Yeah.
So I watched Weapons. It's aside from Sinners, it's like the horror movie of the year, I feel like now. Like everyone's seeing it, everyone's talking about it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say anything about it because Chris hasn't seen it, and I feel like it's kind of like Barbarian, which is this filmmaker Zach Kreger's previous movie, where if you just have to go in not knowing anything.
My body is ready.
All I'll say is that I liked it, and that's all I'll say. And that's for people who have listened to this podcast for a while, and for Chris, they should know that that's a lot of restraint coming from me. I usually can't keep things down. The last art that moved me this week is, so I went to the speed dating thing yesterday, and women are art. No, I'm just kidding. No, I went to the speed dating thing yesterday, and I was trying to kind of hype myself up beforehand. So I was in the shower, I was shaving, and I was kind of just like trying to hype myself up. And I put on my phone some music, and I decided the Blue Album by Weezer. And while I was hyping myself up, I listened to the Blue Album, which is a really funny album to listen to before a date. Like, it's really...
That's why I'm laughing so hard. It's like, of all bands to listen to hype yourself up for women.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. I was like...
After that, I put on Hobo Johnson.
No, totally. It was one of those things where I'm like, oh, I just want to listen to something fun and jovial, because I feel like the Blue Album always brings my spirits up. But then when I put it on, I was like, I'm not changing this because I'm having a good time, but it's also really funny that this is my pre-date hype album.
Oh yeah. I mean, I put that album on all the time when I'm driving and stuff. I'm just cruising through them. I want a girl who will laugh for no one else.
Well, that's the song that when it was playing, I was like, why the fuck am I listening to this? Okay, well, I think this is going to be a long episode either way, so we should get started. Chris, how did Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, change you?
Wow. Never thought I'd be faced with this question. Give me a second to think about that one.
Yeah, it's only like the 50 something episode of this podcast. You're right. I really threw a curveball your way.
So, you know, this is okay. So this is like the big finale of this trilogy, not just for the movies, obviously, but also for like these podcasts. So I'm trying to think of ways to talk about it that isn't just repeating what we've said before. But I can give like a brief little history with this movie just to kind of contextualize my relationship with it, just to keep things simple.
That's the best way to go, I feel like. Yeah.
So I never saw this movie in theaters. Funny enough, I saw Fellowship and Two Towers in theaters, but I did not see Return of the King in theaters. I saw it on DVD later.
Because you were kind of done with the franchise by that point.
At that point, I was, I was fatigued,
Yeah.
No, yeah, well, you know what's funny though is I actually didn't see Deathly Hallows in theaters either.
So weird.
Those are my weird like.
So fucking weird. It's like being like, I saw Infinity War, but I guess I'm good. I'm not seeing Endgame. Anyway,
No, real talk. I was just too young, and I think I just missed my window to see it because I was a little kid. But I did have the PS2 video game, and do you know anything about it? Have you played it or seen any gameplay of it or anything?
No, I don't.
So you get 3 different storylines you can pick between. You can play it as Gandalf, or you can play it as the trio of Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, or you can play as Sam. And I never made it far in it because it was really fucking hard, that game. And apparently, famously, the boss battle with Gollum at the very end is like insanely hard. I never played it, but everyone says like, dude, that was insane. Really, to wrap it up though, this movie is, I'm so burnt out on it because of how fucking amazing it is that like you and I fanboy about it on our own just outside of this podcast. So right now it just feels like a typical Thursday. Like, oh, we're going to talk about Return of the King. Cool. You know what I mean?
You're saying we fanboy specifically about this movie?
Yeah, all 3, but particularly the last hour of this movie, you and I quote all the time.
Yeah. Yes.
In a lot of the sequences and a lot of the shots and a lot of the lines. And I'm sure many people who've seen this movie do as well. But so for me, it's hard to really articulate my full fleshed out thoughts because I'm like, well, it's fucking Return of the King. What is there to even say, man?
Sure. Yeah. It was the movie I visited the least growing up. Like revisited, because like I watched Lord of the Rings a lot, but Lord of the Rings is like a commitment. So when you're doing the rewatch of the trilogy on your own, by the time you get to Return of the King, you're just like, all right, I think I'm good. Like you're kind of like capped out a little bit. So in a way, this podcast was a great excuse. But one story I will give is during the LA fires, luckily Chris and I were safe. And our areas weren't affected, fortunately. But, we still weren't going out. We were staying in, trying to be safe, and it was very spooky. And my internet had just gone out for 3 days straight, so no Wi-Fi either. And luckily, as people can see behind me, I have a lot of books and Blu-rays. And I was like, well, I have Blu-rays, so I can still watch movies. Let's just go through comfort watches. So I watched Back to the Future, obviously. I was like, oh, that'll be a fun one to get my mind off the hellhole that is going outside. And I decided to revisit Return of the King because I hadn't seen it in a while. I had rewatched Two Towers and Fellowship very recently at that point during like Christmas, but I was like, I should revisit Return of the King. And what a morbid choice to pick during a time where like LA is like apocalyptic, because it's a tough watch in that sense, but it also like allowed me to fully escape during a time that was really tough being in Los Angeles. And it, like all Lord of the Rings movies do, it reminded me as dumb and foolish as hope is, why it's important to have it, Oh, yeah. Gandalf's quote to Pippin, he was like, there never was much hope, just a fool's hope. And that's the entire movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that movie is kind of perfect to watch during times like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, yeah. It's just like when it started with like, Smeagol strangling his own brother to death, and you see it in a wide shot.
Yeah, yeah.
And when it started that way, I was like, fuck, did I pick the wrong movie? But then obviously it did kind of help me heal in a way. And, so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's opening up the scab and putting ointment on it for you. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's kind of what Lord of the Rings has been to me. Throughout, like,
Even medically, that doesn't make sense. Just to be clear, like if you have a scab on you, don't peel it off and put ointment on it. That's a pretty bad idea. But I think people understood the essence of what I was trying to say. Just to be clear, I'm aware that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, so if you came to this podcast for medical advice, don't.
Don't listen to me for it.
Each movie we do is just kind of like a healthy reminder of what gets you through the hard times in life, you know?
It's interesting because we said in the very first episode, we made our comparisons to our, like, I'm Frodo and you're Sam. And the next one's is like, I'm Sam, you're Frodo, you know? And I feel like I didn't feel anything new for this one a whole lot when it comes to that part, even though maybe it's because I'm so desensitized to the ending. I don't know if you felt the same way.
No, I feel like I'm Eowyn. I'm always getting friend zoned, you know? No, I agree with you. There wasn't like a 1-to-1 this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we can start here. I wanted to talk a little bit about how basically throughout the entire runtime of this movie. Actually, wait. Let's backpedal a little bit. Thank you. We're gonna sing the praises of this movie a lot, right? And I just want to mention one criticism, which is this is the one movie in the trilogy where I feel like the extended edition. Stop it.
Awkward.
Just like fucking anti-chemistry. Just be like, I don't know about this guy.
This is, you know, if you're listening to this on Spotify, this seems like a very visual episode. Just to be clear.
No,
What's your hot take? What's your criticism of Return of the King?
God, I just don't even want to say it. I feel like we've built it up too much.
It's overly built up. No, what is it?
Out of all the movies, I think this one is the one where I'm like, I don't think the extended edition was a necessary watch. It is a bit too long. Like it is, like it's like you had mentioned to me over the phone, it's an hour longer than the original cut. And this was the only movie where I felt the length of the extended edition.
I think, like, I remember you and I on the phone joked about that because I was like, I pulled up the extended version and I was like, what the fuck? It's an hour longer. Like, I think Two Towers is probably the least noticeable of the extended stuff.
Yeah. Well, Two Towers also, so what's interesting is that Two Towers just has this momentum too, right? Like, you're constantly being introduced to new concepts in Two Towers where you're like, what are the Ents? What's going on with Theoden? Is he like possessed or something? Oh, Saruman's controlling him. Okay, now Gandalf's gonna leave and Aragorn has to get their shit together and they go to Helm's Deep. Helm's Deep happens, you know? There's constantly things that are being unveiled. And I feel like Return of the King, there's not that many new revelations. It's more so just like the army's coming. We're kind of fucked. And it's a lot. It's like 4 hours of that.
Then like a lot of long battle scenes.
Yeah, I mean, sprinkled in between are some of my favorite movie moments ever. So it's like, I'm not complaining, but it is like, you know, again, we're going to be singing the praise of this movie. I think we should just mention up top, like the one kind of gripe we have.
Sure. That it is really fucking long. That's the gripe.
Exactly. Okay. So, throughout this movie, it's constantly reminding you how hopeless everything is. And I listed off a couple things. Sauron's army outnumbering them, the obvious one. Gondor's steward, basically, not the king, but the steward, Denethor, he's probably the worst dad anyone could have. And
he's a fucking maniac.
Gollum even successfully tricks Frodo into ditching Sam. And so, like, you could not be at a worse place. Merry and Pippin are being constantly reminded that they have no dog in this fight, right? So, like, everyone feels like they can't help and they're losing.
And they're separated too, Merry and Pippin.
Yeah, which is the worst. It's like twins being separated. You don't want to see it. And then I think despite all of that,
Disbutt?
Okay,
look at Disbutt.
What's going on with you? What's up with you this episode?
I don't know.
I was gonna say,
you gotta admit that was pretty funny.
No, it was. Yeah. No, yeah. Sorry, I'll admit. Disbutt was very funny.
Chris, let me get back to my Lord of the Rings.
Despite all this, no one quits. That's all I'm saying. And like that's the whole thing. Like they're all fools.
That eats up probably like the entirety of the third movie until the last minute. You know, everyone thinks that this is it. Pretty much the entire way through.
Even Gandalf.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it isn't until pretty much at the last minute when the tower collapses at the end when they realize like, oh hey, this actually worked out pretty well. It's kind of how it feels, you know.
This is a concept that I think about a lot. The Gandalf's line about fool's hope, you know, is. It ties back into Shawshank Redemption being like hope is a good thing, but sometimes you do feel like a fucking idiot for being hopeful at all about anything, especially today, you know, or any time period, but this is the time period I'm living in. But it's like sometimes like if I fear to even be hopeful for a second, and if I voice my hopefulness, I fear that I'll look dumb. And I like that in a weird way. This movie's kind of exploring that. I was like, yeah, they're all fools. But that's the point. Like, if we don't have that, what are we holding on to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I have always been kind of a champion. I think I'm typically, when it comes to bigger world shit, I'm typically a little more hopeful. And I think there's a way to be hopeful that isn't just like completely blind where you do nothing about it and you just kind of like, hope can come from like a very privileged standpoint if you aren't careful. You know,
of course,
if you just look at it as like, you know, like, I think it'll work out. It's like people who say that are unaffected. And even me, myself, by a lot of things going on right now in the world do not directly affect me. So it's easy for me to stay hopeful.
Yeah.
But I do think, and this is funny because like I used to be a lot more cynical when I was, you know, a little younger, but I do think cynicism does not make you look smarter. You know, I've always like, I think like cynicism is like a fake smart take to have. It's like, to me, it means you putting no brain power into like how to solve problems. And the world has always had problems. You know, the people who solved the greater problems throughout history and throughout the world of all the crazy shit humanity's faced, you know, there's a lot of holes in the earth because of what humanity's done to ourselves, you know, to each other and to Earth itself, you know, but we had to kind of use our brain powers to solve them, if that makes any sense at all.
Well, in order to fight for anything, in order to solve anything, you have to have a level of hope. Right? Like if you don't have that, then why you won't do anything about it? Like you genuinely won't, because you're just like wallowing in your own misery about, I mean, you're kind of being like, I always forget his name. You're kind of being like Denethor, you know, just sitting in his throne being like, what's the fucking point? You know? And until the end, like they successfully save Faramir, but he's burning alive at the end, you know, and he falls to his death. And I think that this trilogy in general is fighting against cynicism, you know, it is constantly like, even Gandalf in this movie is like, damn, I let Frodo like go to his death. Right. And the guy that meets them at the Black Gates is basically kind of trying to convince them that, yeah, Frodo died, and he gives them the chainmail that Frodo wore.
Oh yeah.
And
the weird like fucking.
And Gandalf, you can tell in Gandalf's face, in Gimli's face, in Legolas' face, you can see that they believe it, right? Aragorn's the one that slices that guy's head and says, I refuse to. I will not believe it. And he's not saying, I know he's alive. He's saying, I will not believe that he's dead, you know? You're choosing a side that relies on hope, which is, in my opinion, the more courageous thing to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like objectively it is, you know? I think like that's what makes that line hit so hard right before charging, how he looks over to everyone. He's like, for Frodo. And then he like just fucking books it, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. The fucking amazing. Also, can I just say, I'm not calling them out because I also love this moment from this movie that I'm about to mention. Kind of feel like the Russo brothers ripped that off with Captain America silently whispering assemble. You know, like he says Avengers and then under his breath, he's like, assemble. And I mean, the whole moment where it's like on your left and everyone arrives, it feels so Lord of the Rings when you look back at it.
Sure, yeah.
Like Endgame is super Lord of the Rings coded. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't even think they would even try to hide that, you know. But yeah, I mean, I also side note, I always love the look of that dude who comes out of the gate.
So cool.
You know, this weird like helmeted demon thing with his teeth and cuts all the close-ups of his mouth while he's speaking.
Oh, the close-ups of his teeth are the best. Yeah, it really. Well, you know, good point. Kind of going everywhere. they went really hard on the creature design in this movie, like more than the other ones. Like when Andy Serkis is transforming into Gollum, those prosthetics look amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah, that whole sequence in the opening when he's like taking a bite out of the fish.
But then even if you like when he hasn't fully transformed into Gollum, but you see his skin starting to peel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit. The movie starts at a place that is so dire and morbid, which is like, you know, these two brothers who are in the most beautiful place on earth. Like pointedly, they are in a gorgeous like paradise. It's the most obvious visual metaphor, so I know this, but it's like it's the movie's way of showing that in the most beautiful places, like the darkness can creep in, you know?
Oh, 100%. And it creates that beautiful contrast throughout this movie and the first movie of reminding you what they're even fighting for, that this is a world worth fighting for, that there's a future to look forward to.
Yeah.
Even like, not to jump around the entire movie, but, you know, we'll get into more details, but this is just related to what I'm talking about thematically here, is when Sam's cradling Frodo.
Oh, you can't talk about that.
I'm
right
gonna
now.
I'll be just the speech he gives when he says, "Do you remember the Shire?" and he walks him through what will be happening. It's like the subtext to it is telling Frodo like it's gonna be okay. There's another part to look forward to, you know.
But pointedly, Frodo doesn't see it.
Yeah,
like I think it's so powerful when he's just like, I can't remember it. I don't know what that's like. I mean, we've talked about this in Two Towers and Fellowship, but we've all been there. We've all know that feeling of like, yeah, I know there's a better world. I don't remember what that's like. I don't know what the hell that's like. I know I felt that. When you're in that dark hole and you're just like, I don't know what the bright side even looks like. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's really interesting too, because like there's a lot of, this stuff we've kind of touched on from the last two podcasts we did, but like there's a lot of different ways to interpret the different elements of what the ring does to you and like how people lift each other up. And I think that's something that's been interesting, especially when it comes to like emails we get from our listeners, like people relate in different ways to like what the ring means or what the pull of the ring means. People's
totally,
we've related with their own battles with mental health, and some people have related in their own ways with that too. But obviously with J.R.R. Tolkien, writing from his experiences in World War I, of like when you see so much suffering in the world, what are you even doing this for? What are we existing for? What is like the thing? Where is the good? Why is it even fucking worth it?
I mean, when Sam is cradling Frodo in his arms, I mean, I can only imagine that Tolkien has seen that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 100%. He's seen that go on where a man is dying in someone else's arms.
Well, especially wars like that, World War I and World War II, that had so much death. You know what I mean? Those wars are like those unforgettable wars that like we as a species need to make a point to remember that we're capable of that level of bloodshed.
Yeah.
If we're not careful and if we don't think before we choose to do things.
Something else that I really thought about while watching this movie, and this is a concept that I brought up during Two Towers, but the idea of people always being in your corner. Because this is the last movie of this trilogy and this finality, they're talking about Frodo a lot. They're like, is Frodo there? Is Frodo, like, do you think he's still alive? Aragorn chooses to believe. Everyone's rooting for Frodo. Everyone's fighting for him, Not just Sam, but like everyone.
The entire fellowship.
And they constantly are not even just being like, what's so moving about the line for Frodo is that in a way it's not about Middle Earth, it's about this tiny hobbit that they just want to be okay. It is so moving when he says that. And he has like fucking Viggo Mortensen has like a tiny tear in his eye when he says it too, when he turns around. And Viggo Mortensen has like the new hair, like I'm the king of Gondor hair. You know what I mean?
The king of Gondor hair.
Where he's like, I'm not Ranger anymore. I'm the king of Gondor. So it's like tied up a little bit.
Oh yeah, and he's got his armor and his cape and shit.
Yeah, and he's giving that whole speech is like, there's going to come a day where we're going to give up and surrender, but today's not that day.
Oh yeah. I know. I've seen that scene memed so many times when I was young.
I know. But as viewers were watching that and being like, Frodo, everyone's got your back, Frodo, and they distract the entire army so Sauron's eye's not on them. But Frodo physically can't see that, so he can't know. So he thinks he's alone. And I think this movie is in a way kind of trying to remind us that a truth that like every therapist will tell you, that there are people that love you and are in your corner.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it reminds me of the opening to It's a Wonderful Life, how all the different people were praying for George Bailey.
Oh my God. Great pull. Yeah, exactly.
As soon as they think Frodo's dead, because like, yeah, Aragorn refuses to believe it, but he does say for Frodo. Either way, he knows the possibility that Frodo could be dead. They might think the enemy has the ring. This is fucking it. You know what I mean? Let's just give it our all. They're surrounded. They literally show how outnumbered they are by having the enemy completely engulf and surround them.
I mean, again, it's like, I don't mention Endgame again, but it does kind of remind me of like Captain America getting up with like a broken shield, just he's like, all right, I'll fucking do it.
Oh yeah, and he's just facing the entire army by himself. Yeah, good shit,
Okay.
But
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I think the biggest thing that I'm going through right now is my birthday's coming up soon in less than a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's kind of cool about it, I haven't really talked to you about this, Altaf. This is kind of related, but the exact same group of people are showing up to my birthday dinner, because I'm coming to LA soon, that were also there for me when I was going through my crazy traumatic breakup shit. The exact same group. And that might seem like obvious to you, because, you've been there for me. But also at the same time, I always have this lingering doubt in my head whenever people stick their necks out for me that like, oh, well, they feel like they have to because I'm in this desperate now or never situation.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something kind of really profound and beautiful a little bit that like 6 months later, the exact same group of people are going to hang out and be there for me just for something as simple as my birthday that they do not have to be there for, if they're busy or don't want to, So I just want to throw that out there.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's hard to accept that, That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to accept that people are in your corner. Because
yeah,
I think we, in a weird way, and maybe not everyone goes through this, but I can speak for myself, that like, I think it's a weird thing that a lot of people resort to, including myself, which is, I'm all alone, And I don't know why we do that. Like, it's so much easier in life to just accept that people love you. Like, I don't know why we are constantly just shitting on ourselves and just being like, I'm all alone.
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't like that, but in my lowest moments, I resort to that a lot. And I sometimes, in hindsight, I think about it and I'm like, it would be so much easier for me if I just accepted that people love me, because they do,
Well, especially when you feel like you don't have that love. I think that's the biggest difference.
I think that's the thing. As long as you're always there for people, people will always be there for you. I genuinely believe that. And it's not always the same people. We'll talk about saying goodbye to your friends. That's a big thing I want to talk about.
And also one thing I think I'd like to talk about as well as like saying goodbye to toxic people too, in a weird way. Like, I think there's something about the character of Gollum or / Smeagol never changing. There's something very sad about that, but also honest about, it's like, it's hopeful, but there's some people that you just have to give up on. You know what I mean? That's kind of what the movie's trying to say. It's like the whole thing is that Frodo's trying to give Gollum the benefit of the doubt, but he learns that he does not change.
It is kind of a brave choice, in my opinion. Because I know it's probably it's 100% probably in the books, but it's also like a brave choice for a movie to commit to that too,
Yeah.
Okay, so a few things that are another examples of, like, there's so much parts of this movie where it's just showing that the people you didn't think would have your back do, into the theme of people in your corner. Aragorn has to convince the army of the dead, basically, to just be like, come fulfill your last duty to the king of Gondor. and he's the link has been remade. Like, he looks at him, it's like, come on.
Those ghosts look so cool.
Still, right? They still look cool. And I think it's because Peter Jackson like reveals them so well. Like, every time I said Jackson. I was actually doing a Sean Connery impression.
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson always like reveals them with such flair.
And it becomes like Evil Dead for a second, where they all have this like weird piratey way of speaking.
It's the best. But yeah, that moment where like Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli have to escape the pile of skulls, and they kind of have that we're fucked moment, and then the King of the Dead comes out and just says, we'll fight, or we fight. And then also on top of that, at first, Theoden, who is a amazing character, we don't talk about him enough. Theoden's like probably one of my favorite characters. But Theoden's had this amazing arc from Two Towers, where obviously he was possessed, but even after that, he was so hesitant about fighting for Gondor. Like, what have they done for us, And especially because Gondor has the same opinion about Rohan, right? And the fact that like by the end of the movie, Theo like when Aragorn comes to him, it's like Gondor's like crying for battle or whatever, and then Theoden stops and he's like, "And Rohan will answer."
Yeah, you're like, "Oh yay!"
But then
I actually punched my mic a little bit, guys. Sorry.
But then that whole battle cry, right, of just like yelling death and just Theoden being so Theoden like giving himself to a cause. I don't know. It's just really moving to watch a movie where people are doing shit for other people.
Oh yeah. Especially after, wow, I'm drawing a blank on the battle at the end of Two Towers that they barely survived.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. That name doesn't matter.
Fuck you. What's it called?
Yeah, it's fine. Who cares?
Who cares? That little rainy battle, with the big wall,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel people don't talk about that. That's fine.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that, but
yeah.
You get the point I'm trying to make is that after he narrowly survives that.
Okay, Helm's Deep. There you go.
Thank you. After they barely survive the Battle of Helm's Deep, that he's just so down to go out swinging again. You know what I mean? You think like any reasonable person, and I mean reasonable in a bad way, by the way, but any sane person would be like, dude, we barely survived that. Fuck no, I'm not putting my people at risk again, or putting but it's like, no, we're gonna do this. Like that was the first battle of many.
It's just Theoden dying and like touching Eowyn's arm when Eowyn's like, I'm going to save you, and he looks at her, is like, you already have. And it's so moving because like Theoden, his whole like, he finally feels at peace with himself in a way. It is, in a way, inspiring to see someone at peace because they helped others.
Oh, for sure. And like feeling like they really died for something.
It's all you can ask for, right? Like that is all you can ask for.
Well, it's like what Gandalf said, where, death is another path,
Yeah, I didn't really like that whole like thing that he said. It wasn't.
yeah, that whole speech. Nah, I could do without it. I wish I cut it.
It wasn't poetry at all.
Dude, can you believe, like, I guarantee you there are people that think shit like that about Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Who are like, not for me.
I don't know. We know someone that thinks like that.
Okay, yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
but yeah, I think like, what was it? Another, piece of fiction that draws a lot from Lord of the Rings is Mass Effect. It basically, like, Mass Effect is like a combination of Lord of the Rings and Star Trek, where it's like, a lot of like big evil force wants to wipe out all organic life. And then, but it does a similar thing where it's like, races that have been fighting for hundreds or thousands of years now have to set aside their differences to fight for something bigger,
Totally.
And sometimes they'll say, hey, I'll join you, but the other race has to put an end to this law that they passed that did that. You know what I mean? Like they get in all these like little galactic politics squabbles, but it's like, guys, we're not talking about that. We need to fight the fucking bad guys.
Yeah, it's all of man. Like we have to do like help.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about Sam and Frodo in this yet.
You know why? It's because I have a fear of heights, and I get a little I don't like that scene.
Wait, which scene?
When they're on the big steps, when they're going up the stairs.
Oh,
the
shit.
Mordor stairs.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Are you being genuine, or I don't know if you're joking or not?
I'm like half joking. Like it gives me. I mean, of course, it's fucking anxiety inducing, but it's not like a serious ailment. But the fact that they like sleep on those stairs, like with their back just nestled on a rock, I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
It's just very upsetting how Gollum tricks Frodo by like putting those breadcrumbs on Sam and be like, the fat kid's always eating it. It's just so upsetting.
I know.
And yeah, I mean, we can, we'll talk about Sam and Frodo obviously as we get to the ending, but do you want to talk a little bit about Gollum? Because this is kind of a weird Gollum story, this movie. If you want to frame it that way, it starts with him. It starts with Andy Serkis, live action Andy Serkis, who I remember seeing the comments to that scene on YouTube being like, yeah, that guy's already Gollum. Like before Gollum turns, like he already looks creepy.
Yeah, he does have like this kind of weird buggy face.
And it's an interesting framing device because it makes you feel like Gollum might have a redemption if you don't know Lord of the Rings, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth between trying to figure out if Gollum's character is tragic or if he's just a straight villain. And I think that's what's endlessly fascinating about his character.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I always thought it was, I'm not like, arguing with you. It is complex, but I was always under the impression, at least for me, that it's tragic. Like the tragedy is that Smeagol was never able to ever come back. Like you said, sometimes the tragedy is that the people who want to change can't. It's too late, or they just don't have, they don't have a Sam, Mm-hmm. And
well, he killed his Sam.
And the idea that power can corrupt so absolutely that you might come into the danger of killing or getting rid of anyone close to you, and you're left alone. Loneliness is a horrible place to be if you're either in a place of addiction. You can look at this movie in many ways. You can look at it in a movie about alcoholism. You could look at it about depression. You could, and what happens when you dive so deep into that dark hole, and because you've rejected everyone in your life, you have nowhere to go but further down.
I know. I think I don't know if it's something that hits home for me in a different way that makes me have my walls up a little bit stronger, where sometimes I find my own strength in knowing that that's not my fault, it's someone else's. You know what I mean? That sometimes people fall into a hole because of their own choices, And maybe I don't know if that's always harsh or true to say or what, I don't really know for sure, but you and me have also been hurt pretty bad by people who have fallen into their own pits.
Yeah, of course.
And it's hard for me to look at it as, maybe it is the more mature thing to do, to just look at it as you know what? I kind of pity you. You know what I mean? And I think but sometimes I'm you know what? I don't pity you. Sometimes I look at it that way. I'm no, I've had struggles too, where I know people who've had struggles and we didn't fuck up the same way, And I don't know where that line's drawn, but I feel like there is a line somewhere in there and I don't know where it is.
Now, I'm not saying this because I'm this better, I'm an empath. God, no, I'm not saying that. But I think I do tend to fall under the trap of but I know this person's good inside. He just has a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. I think you.
And I've been that way too. You know that I've been that way. I still am in a lot of ways.
It's kind of very hard for me to cut people off, and I'm trying to actually go the other way. I'm trying to be okay, well, I've given this person many chances. I need to now move on, and they need to learn how to help themselves or find actual professional help or whatever. But sometimes I do think to myself, I'm just but what if I didn't give up hope? What if I did just follow through? What if Sam and Frodo somehow were able to help Gollum? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Cause I can imagine the argument, I don't know if it's true or not, but I can imagine the argument if someone said if Sam also was nicer to Gollum and that they both worked together to kind of guide him on a path to redemption, would that have been better? But Sam was always ready to fucking kill him on the spot. He was waiting for his chance, He was always ready. If you try anything, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which on one hand, Sam, you could argue Sam was the one that was right to do that. He should have been on guard. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know, because there are people that prey on your kindness and empathy. There are absolutely people that do that, There are people who make themselves the victims in those situations. There are people who do horrible things and then just oh, well, so-and-so will just feel sorry for me if I acted. There are people by the thousands that act that way. You know what I'm saying?
Two Towers is really making you have empathy for those kind of people though,
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because especially in that whole scene of go away and never come back. That whole scene is him kind of taking control of Smeagol again,
Yeah. And then the ring keeps bringing him back, or keeps pulling him back into the darkness.
And maybe that's it. Like, I don't know. Maybe the thing is not like people are corrupt and can never come back. Is that sometimes it's their circumstances, you know? I don't know. I like, the ring is at the end of the day what's responsible for all of this, right?
It's the nature versus nurture question that I think people have been talking about since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think you and I are going to be able to answer those questions cleanly.
We'll solve it.
We'll solve it in a podcast. We got this. But that stuff's just, it's interesting to me because, you know, there are people, like you and I know people who have been told everything they need to be told. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In terms of like being held accountable and saying, hey, this isn't the path, but you're better than this. There are people that have been told that sort of thing, but choose to reject it. You know what I mean? I run out of patience or empathy for people who have the tools they need, but don't use them. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes it is just like the cold, hard cutting someone off that you want to hope guides them on the right path.
Yeah. You know, especially if they're dragging you down into their own tornadoes, you know.
Before we talk about the final Sam and Frodo, you know, at Mordor, like basically giving up. Do you want to talk about this movie's kind of just general relationship with death?
Sure.
So I'll start here. Gandalf says to Pippin, when Pippin is like, I didn't see it ending this way, you know, as they're bracing for the army to crash through the gates of Gondor. End? No, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. The gray rain curtain of this world rolls back and all turns to silver glass, and then you see it. And then he talks about the white shores, the grass, and then Pippin's like, that doesn't sound too bad, you know? Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
It's good.
Well, I mean, how do you feel about that concept that death is just another path, that death isn't it?
In terms of the literalness of it, you know, I go back and forth when it comes to whether or not death is it. But I do think when it comes to death being a path, it is kind of the path all of us end up on one way or the other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not even kind of, but everyone is on that path eventually, right? 1 out of 1 people die.
It's the only thing that unifies us. Like,
yeah, in a weird, fucked up way. And I think
so fucked up.
I know.
You know what's more fucked up? The twisted minds of Matt Stone and Trey Parker
and Matt Stone. For those who haven't listened to our Aliens podcast, you don't know what we're talking about, but that's okay.
Okay, sorry. Continue though.
No, but I guess the essence of what he's saying though is like, you know, kind of what he said in Fellowship. You know, is like what we can do right now is choose how we want to face death. You know, because death is coming for us one way, or it's going to come knocking. Are we going to die cowards hiding away, or are we going to die facing our problems and trying to do the right thing? It's not about what's fair either. Like, yeah, no, this whole situation's fucked. I wish we weren't here, but we are. So let's do something.
And yeah, and it's just an interesting outlook. Like, you don't have to like buy into heaven. You don't have to buy into the afterlife. But if you can just look at death as a path, not as an end, just like as a path. And that doesn't mean that there's going to be something afterwards, but it is a direction we're all going. And there is an odd amount of comfort to that. I have a big fear of death, you know, like I think we all do in a way, because it is the great unknown. But there is some comfort in knowing that we all got to go through it, you know? There is some comfort. It's like, hey, I'm not the only one that's dying, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Martin Luther King faced it. George Washington faced it.
Mahatma Gandhi faced it.
Gandhi faced it. You know, a lot of people did. Most people who've existed already are, you know, we're way behind.
It just, we're actually catching up to it. That's the dumbest thing ever. It's like, most people already did it. Like trying to be this like enlightened person. All right. Chris is on a really weird one today. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe I'm just feeling more like myself, dude. Maybe I'm truly awake.
That's true. But how do you feel just in general about death at this point in your life? Because I know you've talked to me about just in general, you have a great big fear of death, right? But
Yes, I have pretty severe death anxiety.
okay,
I've probably talked about it a little bit on the show. I've probably touched on that at some point.
sure.
I've just learned to kind of live with it. Nothing's really fully, comforted me through it. I've never felt comfort in death, and I don't know if I ever will. Maybe I will as I get older. A lot of people who, once they hit middle aged, they're like, yeah, it's not really as scary when you get older. This movie, I think, can make you face death more bravely and make it more meaningful and kind of contextualize what it means to die, or like what you die for, what your life even meant. I think those are things that are really worth thinking about in the immediate and the now of like what we're doing and the paths that we're on. But when I think of the literal like unknown of death, that shit freaks me the fuck out. And it always has.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I have a lot of death anxiety too, but to be frank with you, I don't think about it too much. I will say the thing that does comfort me is like the fact that I don't know. So as far as I know, I can just kind of blissfully pretend that there is an afterlife. Like it's kind of the thing. I'm like,
well, a lot of people do, to be fair.
Right. And like, in my opinion, there's really nothing wrong with that. It's just like, if that is what's getting you through the day, then that's what gets you through the day. But I will say there needs to be in your actions, there needs to be a level of like, this is it. This is all we have. And so that's what this movie is, right? Like all we have is us. Like we just have us as a people, and we're angry and we're pity and we're jealous, but we're all we got. So Rohan will answer. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like Sam and Frodo will climb that mountain because that's it. What else are we fighting for?
Yeah. Well, even like Frodo and Sam look at each other and they say, I don't think there's going to be a journey back home, because they ran out of food now.
And after they destroy the ring, Frodo puts his arm around Sam and says to him, I remember the Shire now. And says to him that, like, I'm glad to be with you at the end of all things.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Pretty cool, huh?
But like, that's fucking it. That's all we like can really hope for,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if there's a way I'd want to go out, it would be saving the world on the side of a volcano, if there's anything that would give my death meaning.
But aside, I want to explore that with you for a second, though. I know you've been saying a lot. Well, like, yeah, of course, this movie's about like fighting for something and giving your life meaning. I don't think it always has to be as extreme as like going into war, though, right? Like, you can apply it to your own life in a more realistic way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like for some people, it's parenthood. That's their war that they're going through. Some people who,
or like
focus their entire lives.
What you mean is just like giving your life purpose, not war.
Yeah. Contextualizing what you aligned your values and goals around, the way you lived your life. Were you living your life for family? Were you living your life for a career? Were you living your life for, serving something greater? People who join environmentalism, who join medicine or join different things, emergency services. I think like we all need to find that thing, that special sauce that makes our lives worth it. And I think everyone has different sauces,
Yeah. What's yours?
But I don't fucking know, but no, I'm kidding. No, I think mine is probably around family. I think like, I gave a lot of myself, a lot of my 20s to, or to my YouTube channel. Right. And I think that's definitely a piece of the puzzle that gives me kind of creative fuel. It gives me something to do, talk to, ways to talk to people and be part of a community and maybe inspire people, God forbid, But I think like I would burn that all to the ground if it, meant I get to preserve my personal life when it comes to my own personal relationships and things that give me, people that are there for me and being there for people. I think family is kind of usually day one for me,
Right. I think we've talked about this too, is that like you were talking about how in the School of Rock episode, how there's that one scene that you're like, it makes me want to have kids. I think that's why people have kids too, which is like they want something that is outside of themselves to give their life a bigger meaning. I struggle with that. A big part of my life is my work. I enjoy my work. I enjoy building this channel, but I think more so than you, this is a big section of my life. where I do put a lot of value in this. And I think I'm trying to learn how to like find other things, but it's a struggle. It's really hard for me. I just want to say that, of course, like, I love my family more than the YouTube channel. I was like, that doesn't need to be said, but like, I just want to say that. But like, I would be lying and I wouldn't be honest if I said that I do actually have a problem with valuing my YouTube channel, my work, as much as I do, you know?
When you call it, what do you mean by like a problem?
I just feel like it's not, at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't really matter versus family. I think what you said is actually probably the right answer. Like,
no, I mean, hey, it's not really about right or wrong. But if you think that what I'm saying is a right answer, then I feel like then internally you do value family more than you value your work. If you think that, you know what I mean? Otherwise, if you really, really gave more of a shit about your work, you would probably fight me on it. You'd be like, nah, I like doing my work more, but I feel like that you're conflicted about it. Feels like there might be something that
you have just a healthier relationship with this podcast and our YouTube stuff now than I do. I think like you have like you put in a lot of work. We both do. You put in a lot of work and you show up and you do all the things that are required, but you have such a healthy distance from it. And it's I don't have that.
Is that something that you want to change, you think?
There's something I feel like that's wired in me that I just, I put so much of my self-worth in this, which can't be healthy. That's why I'm so conflicted about it. But a lot of my self-worth is not even in the success of this channel, but into the just kind of, in weirdly enough, the preservation of something creative, something that's outside of my 9 to 5. Like, I feel like I need to have something that's outside of, I need to be building something at all times,
Yeah.
And there's something wired in me where if I'm not consistently trying to build something better, then I'm not I fall apart a little bit. And I think I don't know if you disagree with this, but I feel like you have this kind of oh, we did the podcast. It was fun. Okay, moving on.
I think I had to work to get there a little bit. I think when we were in the prime of the Nice Dude Movie Night channel, when you're doing reactions, I think you and I both know I was pretty, I fucking drowned myself in that channel.
But that was also our job.
But even before it was our job, though, for the first 3 years we were doing it without getting paid at all,
Yeah.
I was sitting around in my pajamas with 2 venti iced coffees next to me. I literally would go and buy 2 largest so I wouldn't have to make 2 trips to get coffee. And I would, just work just that morning, all until 5 o'clock and then go over and do, there was a time I was hyper obsessed with it, and this is the thing. I'm really proud of what I did in a lot of ways. We built a channel that we are really proud of, it was really fun, but I think I'm at a point now where I'm kind of trying to make up for some lost time a little bit, by moving back into my hometown, and I'm trying to spend more time with my family, and I feel a lot more at peace, And
that was a thing that I feel like I had more than you all the time. I did have a group of friends that I would always be hanging out with outside of Nice Dude, and I was I felt like I had a way more of a social life than you did, even during the height of when Nice Dudes was our jobs,
Oh yeah, I mean, I can generally count my friend group on one hand.
I mean, I can too, but I'm just saying you didn't hang out with them as much, and I feel like now you are. Now you're okay, I'm with my family, I'm making plans with friends, I'm doing things on the week, you're getting out there more.
Yeah, I think I'm naturally a little bit, at least for a while I was, and I think I've tried to get myself out of this, but I was much more of a homebody. I very much valued my solitude. I like to be alone. And sometimes I still do. I stand by that. Sometimes I still do like to be left alone. But then there are times when, I look back and I'm like, oh, I kind of just avoided people a lot. I didn't really like that. Or it was hard to even get me out of the house too. I was one of those dudes. I was very ADHD avoidant of that sort of thing. It would hard to get me off the couch, or when I would want to do things, I would get up and pace back and forth for 30 minutes straight, trying to get myself to stop, trying to get myself to, get back. Okay, just walk to the fucking gas station. Just walk to the gas station. Just do this. It would just be hard to get myself out of a brain cycle to do a simple thing. In a weird way, I think distancing myself a little bit, mentally distancing myself, and just being at peace and treating the podcast as like a hobby. That it'd be cool if we made some money doing it or whatever, if it became a little something, but it's not like something where I'm like, oh, this has to be that thing to give my life some sort of purpose, That's not me, trying to put down where your head's at with it at all, because like you said, you do have a healthy, social life and those things. So it's, if those are things that you care about,
it can be, it's tough sometimes, because I think the reason I get conflicted about it is because like, I'm not doing this on my own,
Yeah.
Like you and I. So sometimes it is kind of like I feel guilty for caring too much about it, or like guilty for like putting too much of my self-worth about it. I'm like, but Chris like feels like he's actually having fun with this.
It's a hobby for Chris.
Like you genuinely treat it like a hobby. I treat it like a hobby that maybe could be a job one day.
Yeah, so I get that. I mean, like you and I have experience working together professionally in a way of like, when it was our actual jobs, and I find I have the most fun when I look at it that way. You know what I mean? Or when I look at it
like, not as a job.
Yeah, when I look at it not as a job, because I think you and I probably clash the hardest when we look at it as a job together.
Okay, we got to get back to the movie. I think this is all good, though. We're talking about life and death and what gives us meaning. That's what this movie's about. So Sam and Frodo are at their wits' end. Like they are, like lips are chapped, feet are like burned. They are near a volcano.
That just sounds like, oh, well, I had a little jokey in my head. I was like, chapped lips and burned feet. Shit, sign me up. I'm fucking Frodo. I sunburn my legs all the time.
Yeah. I'm basically Frodo every day. Yeah. No, but Frodo can't see the Shire. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so a lot of people, this is like a big scene, because I feel like this is the scene that people talk about when they have the classic line of like, be the Sam to someone else. Don't always be wishing that someone would be a Sam for you. It's the ultimate metaphor for what true love is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even about friendship at this point. It's genuinely love. It's all we can do for each other. Like, it's so moving because all we can do is just help people during their worst times, but we can't take their worst times from them,
Yeah, but you're willing to give absolutely everything of yourself to not give up on someone else, And it's probably like the prime like movie friendship scene of all time. Just the moment he says, come on, Mr. Frodo, I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you, and that's like the most universally applicable piece of words that you can put if you want to show what real friendship is. When you're seeing someone suffer in a way that you don't understand or can't, experience or take from someone, but you can help them through it.
And the fact that like, even when Sam gets him up there, like, it's still not, like, over. Like, Gollum and Frodo are fighting, and Frodo looks at him with that creepy-ass smile, being like, it's mine. I'm putting on the ring. Sorry, go ahead.
And then, he straight up picks him up and carries him up a fucking mountain. And one of the... there's a lot of compilation videos of, like, YouTubers reacting to that scene.
Oh, yeah, I've seen reactions to that scene. Yeah.
Well, and then I ended up discovering there's like entire ass channels dedicated to creating compilations of reactors reacting to different famous movie scenes. Mm-hmm. And you know what this is a total side note, but you know what pisses me off is that we'll be included in a bunch of them, but they never put us in the fucking thumbnails.
I know.
There's one that does. There's one that does. And it's someone that did some compilation of like scenes from the Holy Grail. And I saw you in that exact shirt that you're wearing right now. And I was like, oh, they put him in. But like, for some reason, you and I are in so many compilation videos of different reactions of like reacting to this scene from a police academy, reacting to this scene from Kung Fu Hustle. They don't put us in the thumbnails. Do we not sell videos?
I don't know, man. Hey.
Fine, they put Mary Cherry, Popcorn in Bed, Natalie Gold. But can't put Altaf's big old mug on it.
Come on, put my big old mug on it. You were watching Return of the King reactions.
Yeah, so everyone reacts pretty much the same way. Just instant tears and like having no words to express how they feel for Sam in that moment, just seeing like, I think the book itself even explained, I forgot the wording of it. I should have found it and pulled it up, the passage. And if any listeners or viewers have it, please copy and paste it or something, because I'm going to forget to. But it's something along the lines of saying that like in that moment, the only possible thing that could stop Sam was death. Like nothing.
Yeah.
He had all the will of the gods to carry Frodo up. You know what I mean? Nothing was stopping him unless you straight up killed his ass.
I think it taps into the same thing that It's a Wonderful Life taps into, right? Which is when Uncle Billy comes in with that bucket of money and reveals to George Bailey that the entire town got together.
Yeah.
The reason that that's such like a almost Pavlovian response of tears when you watch those scenes of Sam carrying Frodo and then the uncle coming in with the bucket of money is because there's something so moving about watching people do good things for others and be selfless and generous. It's the thing that I was talking about with King Theoden, you know? It's an underrated thing. It's like we love watching that in movies, especially when it's earned.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And what both movies, I'm glad you brought up It's a Wonderful Life, because what both movies have in common is that they shit on the main character. Like, they take him through a beating. Like, Frodo is, like, miserable. He gets attacked by a big fat spider in this, you know? That
Almost
spider,
gets
man.
eaten and killed by orcs after he's been stung by the spider.
Which, by the way, I love the moment where the orcs are just start fighting themselves. Like, they're just, like, so mismanaged.
That's always throughout the whole thing. Yeah, the orcs are always fighting each other. Like how the Uruk-hai are like, no, eat it. Don't eat him. And they're like, oh, but it's just a bite.
Oh, yeah, and then also, like, when they finally destroy the ring and then the tower collapses and you see, like, slow-mo shots of, like, Marianne just being like, Frodo! Like, everyone's so psyched.
Dude, the reaction shots are so good. As soon as the tower starts collapsing, you're talking about?
Yeah.
And you just see that close-up of Gandalf with his eyes all watery. You see Aragorn. Yeah, then you see Mary just there like, Frodo!
The big thing with this movie, obviously, famously, people criticize all the different endings. Those people can go fuck themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I have a problem with this movie's length, but I don't have a problem with all the endings. Number one, my friends, you bow to no one. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, when Aragorn... First of all, many things are happening in that scene. Aragorn comes out as fully the king of Gondor. He's, like, there, and he's been accepted. And he gives a proclamation as to all us humans that we must work together in this moment of bliss, you know? And everyone cheers. And he starts singing, which is like, just like Aragorn has this beautiful voice that we didn't know about. Starts walking through, kind of like touches shoulders with Legolas, and they don't say anything to each other, but it's a moment of like, homie, we fucking did it.
We made it. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Kind of. And then Legolas kind of set aside. He's like, I got your shorty. And Liv Tyler's here. And I mean, that kiss is so earned, man.
I know.
And props to Hugo Weaving, because when it cuts to Hugo Weaving and he's in like tears, I want to cry.
I know. After all, it's weird because they don't have that much on-screen scenes together. You know, it's mostly just like these fleeting kind of fantasies of each other and what
it's a yearning.
Yeah, it's a yearning. It's a feeling of like what could be. And so, which still, it's effective because normally that wouldn't work, but it actually does work pretty well. You know, because once you actually see them together, you're like, oh, finally, thank God.
All the hobbits are there. And the hobbits kind of awkwardly bow a little bit. And then Aragorn is like, my friends, you bow to no one. And then all of Gondor bows. And then the music is just like orchestral sex. Like, it's just really fucking you.
Gently.
And the most moving part about it is that push into Frodo looking horrified. Like,
yeah. All of them have different faces that show where they're at emotionally.
I mean, Pippin is psyched. If you look at Pippin, he's like, hell yeah.
But Frodo has like this almost fear, this kind of, he doesn't understand why he doesn't feel any better or any safer or any reward for what, for what they did, which is kind of, a very effective thing, which is why when people shit on the movie having a long ending, I'm like, that whole thing is so important to express what it did to Frodo emotionally.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, the idea that they're like, not only is Frodo never going to be the same, but this is not what's going to make him feel whole.
Hmm.
Like, this isn't it. Like, all of Middle Earth bowing down to him is not going to do it, you
Yeah.
know? So, we get back to the Shire, and it's so nice, that small moment of that old neighbor in the Shire still looking at them, be like, I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, given that scowl.
And I'm like, listen, man, they're war heroes. Fucking calm down. And man, that moment where they all sit down with the pints, and they it's just so awkward. And
Yeah.
it like cuts around to the rest of the bar of people having fun, and you remember Fellowship when they used to be like that. Yeah, it's just like they kind of do a silent cheers and a smile, but they're like, it's different now.
Yeah, things are not going to be the same between them, you know. It's like
Yeah, go ahead.
this is a weird poll, but it's like how I imagine the Breakfast Club seeing each other again. Like if you know, like after that detention, if they all cast each other in the hall, that's the energy I imagine between them.
Yeah, no, I feel you, because it's kind of that feeling of like we were so vulnerable, and we all showed our worst part of ourselves in front of each other.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, obviously, same deal. You know, J.R.R. Tolkien clearly was basing it off of his time
PTSD.
serving. And
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, want to mention the Sam asking out Rose, like he'd going for it.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Funny how that puts things into perspective for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all Sean Astin's face. He just looks at it. He looks at Rose, puts the bite down, and it's kind of that feeling of like, all right, fuck it, man. I can't be nervous anymore. Jesus. I gotta do this. And all the friends kind of looking at each other with like, our boy. Like he's doing it,
Yeah. Then a hard cuts to their wedding.
And then obviously, Frodo has to leave. Okay, so this is kind of what I wanted to talk about to wrap up our conversation and go to write-ins, but saying goodbye to your friends, from the synopsis of just like, it's okay to say goodbye to your friends.
Yeah.
They're all like heartbroken and upset, but they obviously let him go. And when Frodo is on that boat, he turns around, and that's when he finally smiles. He has like the biggest smile on his face. And I think about that a lot. I think about that with Goodwill. Goodwill Hunting is a great example of this, of like
Sure.
this kind of feeling of like, listen, if you really cared about them, you'd want them to go. I think about you a lot. When you first called me and told me that you were leaving for LA, and
Leaving LA, not leaving for LA, but leaving LA.
Right. You were leaving when you first called me, because I was like back in Knoxville visiting family, and you were still in LA, and then you called me like, hey man, I wanted to tell you when you came back, but I think I'm moving back home. I was heartbroken. I was like trying to also kind of convince you to stay. And at the end of it, kind of just knowing that you needed to leave. And it took me a while to kind of understand that was probably the best thing. Like, that helped our friendship, but that was also like the best thing that could have happened to you, that you had the courage to be like, this is not it for me. Like, you kind of left the Shire, man. In a way, you left the Shire.
If
LA's
the Shire
not
was
as
expensive as fuck, yeah.
But you know that I mean, I know that was a big part of it, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to go beyond just finances, but you know what I mean.
No, but yeah, of course. I left the comfort, the familiarity. I relate to Frodo on some level too. I mean, obviously, I didn't go through nearly the shit that Frodo went through, but I do still have like weird like PTSD around LA. When I last visited, I spent, nights sleeping in the same spot I slept in when I was, had to move and went through my own crazy shit. I get like weird little anxiety spikes driving around LA when I see certain things I recognized before, things certain, coming back. I don't know. My relationship with LA is just really weird now, and
Yeah.
Again, didn't go through fucking war there, but I did go through some traumatizing things. I went through some pretty, I suffered there a lot. And
Yeah, you went through some rough breakups. Yeah.
that, and just personal life stuff that was hard for me,
Of
and
course.
I get the feeling in a weird way of like, oh yeah, this is why I distance myself, because like there's just a lot of pain for me here now,
And I'm not trying to put too fine a point on it, but I do remember last seeing you when we went to San Diego together for my birthday. And I saw that you had lost all this weight because you've been working out, and you found more like ways to kind of dress yourself and to kind of just style yourself a little bit. And you just had this thing in you, which is like, you just like, when Frodo smiles and looks back at his friends, I thought of you, because I'm just like, you just look more at peace because you left something that didn't really feel like home anymore, And I don't know. It's just it was very tough for me to say goodbye to you, And but it's that, it helped me kind of realize that, like, my friendship with you didn't rely on you and I being a few miles away from each other. That wasn't what made us friends.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Your part of the story will go on.
Oh yeah. And then Sam has like, I'm back. And then it cuts to the door of the Shire. All right. What a long fucking episode that we did. Well, unless there's anything else you want to add, Chris, I mean, are there any shouties you want to bring up real quick?
I mean, we can just do some rapid fire shouties. For those who don't know what shouties are where we give quick little shout outs to moments that matter to us.
Yay! All right.
Quick
first
shouties.
One,
the elephant thingies are cool. That
Very
scarred up
cool.
orc is cool. That really ugly one.
Oh my god, the makeup on that was so sick.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Like I already said it, but the ghosts, the army of the dead they looked pretty cool. But I'm gonna say that a lot.
Gimli and Legolas, they're aligned towards each other. Never thought I'd fight alongside an elf.
Oh yeah, that part's pretty cool.
And then what does Legolas say to Gimli?
Oh, sorry, I don't realize you ask me questions like a journalist. Like you want me to say, you want the scoop, you want me to say the thing.
I just expect you to say it, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it though. I'll do it. Yeah, when he's like, never thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf. And Legolas looks down. What about side by side with a friend? And Gimli looks up. I could do that.
It's amazing. And then we have one of my favorite Gandalf lines, which is, "Run, Shadowfax, show us the meaning of haste."
Yeah, dude. I know, I love that line too. When he sends Pippin out, right?
Yeah, when he's with Pippin. Yeah. It's so fucking sick.
We didn't even talk about it, but the part where he makes Pippin sing and it cuts back and forth when he's sending his son to his death while he's like eating the tomatoes.
It's super upsetting.
That's like an iconic scene, and it's funny we didn't talk about it, but that's okay.
We talked about a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
I think we should get to write-ins unless there's another thing you want to mention real quick.
One more thing is I saw a meme related to that scene where it was an Instagram reel where he's like, and you think your songs are not fit for my halls. Come, sing me a song. The same scene. And he goes up and he's like, it's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked my head sad and I'm angry. It's the same scene, but he's just standing there singing that.
That's amazing.
That's all.
All right, guys. So we asked you guys how Lord of the Rings Return of the King changed you. You emailed us in at moviesthatchangedus@gmail.com. Follow us on all our socials and on our Patreon, and stay subscribed on YouTube to know the next time we post a call to action where we tell you what movie we're doing and where you can email us. The first one's from William Clark. Hey, nice dudes. I'm loving the Lord of the Rings episodes, and I'm excited to hear your comments on Return of the King. I think one of the most impactful things about this movie for me was the fact that there was no redemption for Gollum. He's one of the most memorable and influential characters in the story, and we follow him in his constant struggle to retain his humanity, but in the end, his desire for the ring killed him. If he had just let go, he could have become Smeagol again. It reminds me that we all make bad decisions and lose direction, and the only choice that makes you a good person is the next one. Keep up the great work, boys. William Clark.
I really like that. I like the way it phrases that, where it says, we all make bad decisions and lose direction, but the only choice that makes us a good person is the next one. I feel like that's like a timeless piece of wisdom I think all of us need to have. Like, it's never too late, This next email is from Vincent Aguilera. You bow to no one. My dad cried in front of us for the first time. I was crying too, because they earned that, suffered for it, and received acknowledgement from their peers and allies. That's the working class dream. It's a moment I'll remember all my life. Thank you, Vincent. I mean, shit, yeah. I mean that's another huge scene that I think everyone just fucking, weeps seeing.
It's that in like that wide shot that like that is just going further and further back, where you see the entire like all of Gondor just bowing to them, basically all of Middle Earth.
Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah. Vincent, we're right with you on that one. Thank you for writing in.
Last email is from Christian. Hello, nice dudes. I never got the chance to see Return of the King in theaters, but my dad bought my sister the extended edition DVDs of the trilogy. As a kid, I loved the action sequences and still do. As an adult, I love the quiet moments of these movies. The conversations between Pippin and Gandalf always stand out to me, as does the scene where Aragorn releases the spirits of their bond. This movie understands how to match moments of hopelessness and despair with moments of hope and triumph. On a different note, I appreciate you guys being open about your mental health issues. One of the hardest things to do in life is to be vulnerable, and I appreciate people like yourselves that produce great content and be willing to share your struggles. Return of the King does a great job of showcasing how people deal with their struggles. Apologies for the long email. Hope you two are doing well. And stay nice, dudes.
Thank you for that, Christian. That really means a lot, because if you too, I don't know, whoever else listening deals with mental health stuff, it's not always easy to talk about, let alone on a public, whatever you want to call it, a public platform. But we hope that, it can help people feel less alone, or at least a little more normalized and leveled out, that like Altaf and I are fucking weird people sometimes. You and I we can go a little cuckoo,
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, and you and I juggle with that a lot too, of like how much to share, and like whether we share too much, or is this too personal? Are we not talking about the movie enough? Mm-hmm. And I think we've kind of settled into a happy medium where we know what we're comfortable with sharing. And also we are comfortable with kind of getting off topic to talk a little bit more about deeper things that this movie reminds us of, because it feels like the show goes a little bit deeper than just a movie podcast you could get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of the selling point of this show. So to me, I'm like, if we weren't personal or vulnerable, we'd be doing a disservice to the premise of the show.
And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much to our patrons for supporting us again and again. Join our Patreon to see me guess the Letterboxd review. And last but not least, stay nice, dudes.